Is your computer feeling more like a sleepy tortoise than a speedy hare? Well, you are in exactly the right place. We're going to figure out what's causing that slowdown and get your machine feeling brand new again.
Oh, we've all been there, right? Staring at that dreaded spinning wheel, waiting ages for a program to open, dealing with constant freezes. And it doesn't matter if you're on a PC, a Mac, or a Linux machine, a slow computer is probably one of the most universal tech frustrations on the planet.
But here's the really good news. You probably don't need to go out and spend a ton of money on a new computer. A lot of the time, the fix is surprisingly simple, and it's definitely something you can handle yourself.
So let's do this. We're going to turn that frustration into a real solution. We'll walk through everything step by step, starting with the absolute quickest and easiest fixes first.
Okay, first up is what I like to call computer first aid. These are a few incredibly simple checks you can do in just a few minutes that can give you a huge performance boost with almost zero effort.
All right, let's run through these real quick. First, and I am totally serious about this, just restart your computer. It sounds too simple, but it clears out all the temporary junk in its memory and gives your system a completely fresh start. Second, take a peek at your resource usage. On Windows, you'll open up the Task Manager. On a Mac, it's called the Activity Monitor. You're looking for any app that's just hogging all your CPU power or memory. Third, check how much free storage you have left. We'll talk more about why that's so critical in a sec. And finally, just unplug any USB devices you're not actively using. Believe it or not, a faulty device can cause some really weird slowdowns.
Let's really zero in on that storage point for a moment. Your operating system needs empty space to do its job properly. Think of it like digital breathing room. When your drive gets almost full, everything just grinds to a halt. So the golden rule here, always try to keep at least 10 to 20% of your drive completely free.
So what if you've done all those simple checks and things are still slow? Well, now it's time to look a little deeper. Sometimes the problem isn't a single app, but the health of your operating system itself.
You know, over time, your operating system can get a bit messy under the hood. Maybe a sudden power outage corrupted a system file, or a software update didn't install correctly. Or you've got all this digital junk left behind from old programs you uninstalled ages ago. All this stuff can pile up and make your whole system unstable and slow.
For all you Windows users, there are some really powerful repair tools built right in. You'll want to open the command prompt as an administrator and then run two key commands. The first one, sfc/scannow, is the system file checker. It does exactly what it says, scans for and fixes any corrupted Windows files. The second tool, DISM, goes even deeper to repair the core system health. Just think of it like a professional deep clean for your OS.
Now for you Mac users, your fix is even simpler. Just shut down your computer completely. Then turn it back on, but make sure you're holding down the Shift key the whole time it's starting up. This boots you into what's called safe mode, and it automatically runs a bunch of background maintenance tasks, clears out old system junk, and can solve a whole host of problems.
And to my Linux friends out there using Debian or Ubuntu, this one little command in the terminal is your absolute best friend. It automatically finds and fixes any broken software packages or dependencies that might have gone wrong during an installation or update. It basically makes sure the foundation of your system is solid.
And hey, if you want to take it a step further, there are some great third-party tools that can automate a lot of this cleanup for you. CCleaner is a longtime favorite for Windows, BleachBit is a really powerful open-source option for both Windows and Linux, and CleanMyMacX is a super popular all-in-one tool for macOS.
Okay, let's shift gears. What if you've cleaned up your software, you've repaired the OS, but things are still lagging? Well, now it's time to look at the engine of your computer, the hardware itself. A single slow component can hold your entire system back. So, this is probably the most crucial hardware point to understand, the difference between an old hard disk drive, or an HDD, and a modern solid-state drive, an SSD. See, an HDD is mechanical. It works like a tiny record player, with a physical arm that has to move around to read data off a spinning disk. It's slow. An SSD, on the other hand, uses flash memory. Think of it like a giant, super-fast USB stick. There are no moving parts, which makes it incredibly fast. And wow! This chart just says it all, doesn't it? We're not talking about a tiny improvement here. This is a total night and day difference. Your computer's startup time can go from a full minute of just waiting around to less than 10 seconds. And it's not just startup. Every single thing you do gets faster.
Next up is RAM. The best way to think about RAM is like your desk space. If you have a tiny little desk, you can only work on one or two things at a time. If you try to do more, stuff starts piling up, it gets messy, and you slow down. So if you find your apps are always freezing or just switching between browser tabs feels painful, you might not have enough RAM for your needs.
And finally, let's talk about heat. If your computer's fans sound like a jet engine taking off and the case is hot to the touch, it might be thermal throttling. This is actually a safety feature. Your computer is intentionally slowing itself down to cool off and prevent any permanent damage. A lot of the time, just giving the dusty vents a good cleaning is all it takes to fix this.
Okay, so we've covered simple software checks, deep OS cleaning, and potential hardware issues. But what if you could only do one thing? What's the single change that would make the absolute biggest difference?
What is the one upgrade that gives you the most bang for your buck and will truly transform how your computer feels?
This is it, right here. Without a shadow of a doubt, the single most effective, game-changing upgrade you can make is swapping out an old mechanical hard drive for a modern solid-state drive. It's not even close. This one change can make a 5-year-old computer feel like it just came out of the box.
So let's quickly recap your new troubleshooting plan. Always start with that simple 5-minute checklist, the easy stuff. If that doesn't work, move on to cleaning up your operating system. After that, start looking for hardware bottlenecks, like an old hard drive or not enough RAM. And just remember, if you want the biggest performance boost for your money, an SSD upgrade is always the answer.
And there you have it, a clear roadmap to a much faster computer. The power is totally in your hands now. So the only question left is, which of these fixes are you going to try first?